Hello, welcome to another episode of Playing Telephone. I'm Scarlett Sanchez.
I'm Dennis Kluba.
Dennis, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. It's been a nice busy day, keeping things going.
Yeah.
Happy to see you.
Yeah. You had an eventful yesterday,
no.
though. You just said that you wanted to go over this, and I want to get into it before we get...
I don't want to go over an embarrassing
I
thing
want to go over it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you were on a walk, doing your thing.
Yeah, I just I'm enjoying my little walks.
Fit girl walk.
Yeah.
And
what did you say?
Fit girl walk.
Oh, fit girl walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just having... you had a friend. You had a visitor swooping.
Yeah, I thought... Honestly, my first thought was like a kid threw a ball at my head.
Did you have headphones in or something?
Did I have headphones in? Yeah, I had to have. Yeah.
Okay.
Had the pods in. I was listening to music. I was not on the phone because otherwise whoever I was talking to would have heard my reaction, which was like dry heaving because I was disgusted. Anyways,
go on.
I feel this bang kind of in the back of my head, and I'm thinking, I'm out in kind of the back neighborhoods. Maybe a kid's playing some catch, and I had to...
Which would be an insane coincidence. But yeah. Okay.
That's where my head went, though. And instead, the bird went into my head. So a bird flew into the back of my head while I was going on a walk.
What do you attribute that to?
Is that good luck or bad luck? Because if a bird poops on you, it's good luck. So I'm thinking now I'm just going to have the best luck of my entire life all year.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that's insane that actually happened to you, though. That's like 1 in a million, right?
Birds run into windows. Clear. I have dark brown hair. It's not like I'm a blonde. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking maybe the bird was struggling because then I turn around. I just see the butt.
You got a strong head.
I see the bird just flailing. You can tell it kind of hurt a little bit.
So it's
just going.
Discombobulated.
Yeah.
Unaware of where it's at.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a rough time on my walk. And I don't know. For some reason, birds just disgust me. I just think they're the grossest thing.
That's weird, but yeah.
Between birds and seeing roadkill on the side of the street, that just makes me want to...
I'm like that with rodents.
I'm throwing up just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
That was your day yesterday.
Yeah, and then I called Dennis. I couldn't even get it out when I called you. What was I just laughing or?
You were on the verge of vomiting. You're like, I don't know what just hit me, but I'm like, what is going on? You're just like, oh, I think a bird just hit me in the head. I thought it was a ball. It was a bird.
You didn't really believe me. You were like, no,
that's impossible.
Yeah, so great start to my week. Love a good Monday walk with a bird in the side of the head.
Just at ease with nature.
Yeah, but you've gotten pooped on by a bird, right?
Not really. Not that I recently can remember, but I'm sure it's happened to me.
Okay, so you're the least lucky person ever.
Well, I wouldn't say that at all. I haven't been hit by a bird.
But don't you think people just say that myth because oh my gosh, you have bird poop on you? Yay, you have good luck now. It's to make you feel better.
The first person made that up. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. That's never been a thing that's true.
Do you think picking up a penny is good luck?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think going underneath the ladder is bad luck?
I don't know a time that I've ever done that.
I have.
Going under ladders for what?
Your dad's hanging up the Christmas lights. He's grab that bulb. And you're gotta get there quick. And you just go underneath.
I've never thought when there's a ladder present, I need to do this quickly. I'm gonna do this safely.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary. Although when we were walking, we went on a walk and you kept going on the opposite side of the pool as me. And that I'm superstitious about too. You should always go on the same side of the pool. If
a pole's in the middle of the sidewalk?
Yeah, you were going on the street. Yeah. You would loop around, almost closer to the street, and I would go on the inside, and I was just come on the same side as me.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
You feel like that's a big thing.
Oh, yeah. I was bad luck. But it was all on you, so I didn't really care.
You're a weird... I didn't know you're so superstitious. We've known each other for so long.
I'm not super superstitious.
Well...
Superstition. Yeah.
But that was a great start to something that we usually never talk about, superstitions and just Scarlett's weirdness. More importantly, though, a story that we had been covering almost all, for what feels like a year and a half now, almost, has finally kind of culminated.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this. Well, the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion that involved Tory Lanez. Mm-hmm. Well, that is the alleged shooter, which I guess now we can say he is the actual shooter because he was found guilty in December and now he's been convicted. That was back in July of 2020 when they'd left that Hollywood Hills party, Kylie Jenner's party.
Right.
And they were in the car. It was him, it was her, Tory Lanez, and then the friend Kelsey, and he ended up shooting at her foot.
Can we recap very quickly just for me?
Yeah.
What was like the alleged thing that happened in that car? Wasn't it that somebody was like the original, like, because in the testimony that we talked about today is that his ego was bruised. Tory Lanez was the whole thing about like Megan didn't want to sleep with him or something?
Well, there was rumors that they
rapping?
were talking at the time, but it had to do with his music.
Yeah.
And that he was like soft or something like that.
Yeah.
And that he wasn't really that talented or that creative.
Yeah.
And that like somehow stemmed into a shooting.
It set him off.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little bit of unknowns because Kelsey did her testimony originally and then ended up pulling it back, and which also led people to believe that maybe Tory Lanez paid her off in some way to keep her quiet, to have her on his side.
But it was Megan's friend though, right?
Megan's friend. I mean, now they're definitely not friends.
We're talking Jordan Woods, Kylie, not friends.
Even
28.
they're even on better terms than these two because they were just seen out together. But yeah, a lot of drama, and this case brought up a lot of other issues too because Megan Thee Stallion was called a liar at first because she did lie to police, but that was like in terms of like protection and the type of culture that they were dealing with. So she lied at first when she did a police report. And then came forward when Megan and Kelsey, or not Megan, when Tory and Kelsey started having their own stories. She's like, whoa.
Background, this is 2020 when this happened.
Yeah.
So all in kind of that same time when pandemic was going on. I'm trying to remember when the George Floyd stuff, was that 2020 as well?
Yeah, that was like that had just happened recently.
Okay. So context. Exactly.
So exactly how she was feeling in that moment. Exactly. So she felt the need to protect herself, which is totally rightfully so. But I've just seen Twitter blowing up like, oh, you're so mad at Tory for being a liar when you're the biggest liar. And it's like, okay, maybe you guys just need to do a little bit of research on this, fill in the background. But yeah, because on Monday is when this is all started. And this, we've been waiting, like you said, we've been waiting for this for a long time because this case has been just delayed so many times. Tory Lanez has changed lawyers. You can tell. I feel like he knew he was going to get some jail time, so he's been trying to push it off any way he can. Also, he hired the lawyer that defended Casey Anthony.
Whoa.
Which even just that in itself is like, whoa.
That name's that name is so taboo.
Yeah. Well, it's just what we were talking about. We were talking about randomly O.J. Simpson before this, and it's just like people that you kind of know, which you know that they committed the crime, and then they're just out here living life. Like everything's good. I didn't kill anyone. Well, we had that friend. Oh, you didn't go to my same high school. I was thinking about school, but forensics class. I had to cover Casey Anthony like extensively at this
in
project.
High school or college?
High school. I had a forensics class. Yeah.
A forensics class in high school? What were you going to
the
crime college? What is this? It's bizarre.
Yeah, it was my favorite class. Yeah.
You should have been a cop.
A lawyer cap.
Detective. Sanchez. On duty.
Yeah. Anyways, so he was found guilty in December for the 3 felonies. And then now fast forward in, oh my gosh, now it's August already. Wow.
Sentencing.
How did that already happen?
Where's the time we are?
So then the sentencing happened and everyone was expecting Megan Thee Stallion to be there.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
We all thought that she was going to be there, but she ended up not coming because she just ended up giving a statement to the court instead. And she said that she could not bear being in the same room as him. And she felt real uncomfortable too, because he's kind of made a mockery of this. If you remember, like there was like tweets where he called her a B even after the fact, and really has painted it where she was completely just like the liar and not telling the truth at all.
Can I just say, I'm so glad that number one, found guilty. We got to the bottom of this whole thing.
Yeah.
We got some justice, right? Mm-hmm. Right? But this story, I loved this story.
Why?
I just thought that the drama you shouldn't dramatize somebody's like life.
Yeah.
And something like that. But the ups and downs in this case, when we were like, the new things that would come up, like you were saying, with Tory Lanez and his team, like, and we'll get into it, like, changing the narrative. And then it was like, they did a decent job of, like, I remember thinking, like, I don't know what happened in that car. Like, is that true? and then like finding all these things out. I'm just saying that if there was like a true crime doc, I don't know. I think it'd be
I'm sure there probably will be a doc. Well, yeah, that's always so interesting hearing like the two different sides of everything.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I mean, you're supposed to believe without reasonable doubt or whatever whenever you're in the court and for a crime case. So hearing people's different sides, like it can be very believable, and sometimes it is hard to make a decision.
Yeah.
But I just think that Tory, like you said, changed his story a lot. At first he was blaming the press. At first he was doing all this other, narratives, like
smear campaigns.
Exactly. And then for the sentencing, though, there was about 7 witnesses that came to defend Tory, and one of them was his father, and a lot of it was talking about like childhood trauma, which Megan brought up in her statement. She was like, I just feel like you have like you said, smeared me, just completely have like ruined so much of my reputation in ways. But what did she say exactly? She said that she was viciously shot by the defendant, and he paid bloggers to disseminate false information. He treated my trauma like a joke when I could have been dead. He blamed the system. He blamed the press. And as of late, he's using his childhood trauma to justify his actions, which is what you were talking about earlier when his mom passed away when he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
So they were bringing a lot of that into it, and that he like hadn't fully recovered from it
after the fact.
Right.
This was never brought up in trial when he was claiming that he was not guilty, which I thought, number one, is a hilarious thing of like, you're there as Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
You've changed now to because he did accept that he was guilty now, and basically is like, I'm trying to be a better man, etc. But in order to get his sentencing down, it's like you basically just have to listen to your lawyer be like, he is a broken man. He can't control his emotions.
Yeah.
His one thing, a bruised ego, set him off. It's like you have to listen to all the things that are wrong with you and be like, see, I'm
because
I'm
you
not
don't
healthy.
Well, because they were trying to get 22
years originally.
Yeah, and like I heard 13 years at some point too. Prosecutors were looking for
22, 13, and now 10.
And a lot of recommendations were 5. So there was a lot of different years being thrown around. But yeah, no, you're totally right. They do anything. It's kind of like whenever a serial killer walks into court and they like try to plea insanity. So that way you can just like go to a mental health or some sort of psych ward instead. But yeah, so his story did change a lot, which I don't think helped him clearly because he ended up being sentenced for 10 years.
Yeah.
I think this is a win for Megan Thee Stallion.
For sure. And like she said, she talks about having obviously a lot of trauma related to the situation. It's been 3 years, so you can only imagine the amount of anguish that she's gone through with the blogger stuff. Obviously, people not sure if she's telling the truth. People smearing her, dragging her through the mud. So, like, yeah, did she win the case for sure? Was justice served? Yeah, I think so. But I wouldn't say that it's something that she's, like, happy about. She's probably like, I'm glad this is over.
Yeah.
I'm done with this shit.
I think it's more of a relief that finally it's done. It's just been going on for so long. There was about 70 letters that were 76 that were written in support of Tory Lanez.
Sure.
And a lot of it, maybe had to do with childhood trauma, but essentially the judge had asked, like, what is your experience with Tory Lanez and what kind of punishment do you think he deserves? And one of the people that ended up writing a letter of recommendations, I'll call it, instead of a letter in support, even though that's really what it was Iggy Azalea. And she was really, I feel like she was a little bit caught off guard because this was made public. These names were made public. All of their letters and the exact.
She thought they were going to be.
She thought it was going to be private. Thought it was going to be anonymous. She thought it was just the judge was going to read it. But it
got read in court, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Did it get read in court? I'm sure
it was probably in evidence.
Yeah.
That it could be released or read.
So she starts getting trashed online because a lot of people. I mean,
Iggy was backing up Tory Lanez.
Yeah, they had some collabs coming up, some projects and everything. I think they're friends, but to defend herself, her whole point of view was like, I believe in prison reform, and she more so took the route that I am not trying to support anyone, even though it was. That's why I said letter recommendation instead of letter of support, because she was saying like, I don't support anyone necessarily, but the judge had asked me to give my genuine experience and to give what I said, the recommended recommendation of punishment. So she thought it only should have been 5 years, which I mean, I think that's
like
Yeah.
I feel like whatever she said, it's honestly what it is like, you're right. It's like, if the judge asks you to give your relationship with that person, if you've had a good relationship, all you can do is tell how you've reacted with that person.
Right.
You can't bring in things that maybe you've seen online or what you know of the Megan Thee Stallion case. Yeah. So like, I don't necessarily drag her. It's just more or less like the whole thing of people are going to be pissed in general. Almost, I feel like, because it's like not women supporting women almost.
Yeah, that could be a factor. But I think the fact that she had like a closer relationship with Tory is probably what made her stand for him a little bit more. Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure. But yeah, she said that she hadn't been in touch with Tory for a while though too, but she just was wishing him well. So
how embarrassing is it to go to jail for 10 years? And number one, it was because some girl embarrassed you or insulted you or said something to you in the car. Number two, you didn't even land a shot.
Well, because it didn't. Yeah, it was more of like a.
Yeah, like a ricochet or like a skim or something like that. That's tough to sell in prison.
Well,
what are you in for? This girl said I wasn't a very good rapper, and I tried to shoot her, but I didn't hit her.
Oh, I'm glad he didn't hit her.
I know, me too. But I'm just saying that's an embarrassing.
I'm sure he has some sort of clout. And do you think he's actually going to be in jail for the whole 10 years?
No.
He should be.
He's Canadian. He's got good behavior.
Good behavior. Get on him. Good behavior.
Mm-hmm. He is like 5'3", though, so he's going to need to get some big boys around him. Team up.
I think he's going to get deported back to Canada.
You've been saying that.
Right? I mean, why would they keep a felon in here?
Whoa.
Isn't that how it works? I thought like if you like create a crime,
create a crime.
If you create a
commit
criminal,
a crime.
If you create a criminal.
Lawyer cap, don't create a crime, commit it. He committed a crime on U.S. soil. I don't know if he gets deported back or if he stays in the U.S. sit in prison.
Okay.
I don't know those rules. Typically, I think deported, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But basically, his lawyers were like, they had talked about deportation in the thing.
Yeah.
And his lawyers were like, and I mean, he's paying millions of dollars for these lawyers.
Yeah.
His lawyers were like, we're a long way away from that happening.
What is that supposed to mean?
Basically, they knocked it down from 22 years to 13 years to 10 years. They're going to re-up and do the, what do they call that? Like,
out on good behavior? Or,
no, they're going to file like a motion for...
An appeal.
They're going to file appeals. That'll get knocked down again after the sentencing. And then the last thing is going to be like the deportation. They're like, I don't think he's going to get that.
Yeah. I think they knocked it down enough.
But they're just going to
clearly the evidence serves that
he still has money though, so he's going to keep filing appeals.
The thing is, Tory, I don't think he has necessarily a bad criminal record before this, which I think necessarily that would help him.
Should go a long way.
It should go a long way?
Yeah, if this is your first offense.
Yeah.
And you're just shooting at
toes. With a gun? Oh, yeah.
Shooting at toes.
Not trying to shoot at toes. He just has a terrible aim. Also, why are you driving around with guns? That's a whole other discussion. Anyways. Yeah, so he was sentenced. I honestly was a little bit shocked by this. I thought somehow
more or less
he would get out with like 2 or 3 years or go on probation. I don't know. You get that celebrity treatment. But I think the fact that it was versus another celebrity, I think that was, do you know what I mean? Like if it was just
a regular, schmegular, degular.
Exactly. Sorry to call us regulars, but.
What I was going to say is, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say.
You were thinking about Cardi B being regular, schmegular. If he was going to get a certain sentencing at a certain time.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about Megan Thee Stallion. I had started listening to more Tory Lanez. Okay,
he also dropped an album during all this,
and that one album was so good. That one album was so good.
Oh god, I thought that was gonna be a bad thing.
What I was gonna say is, with paying the bloggers, I just want to make sure because I didn't get any money. I don't think you got any money.
I don't want his money.
Okay, I just wanted to know because I felt that throughout the middle of that, I didn't know who was telling the truth. And I didn't know if you were swaying, if we were part of the problem.
I think you're always part of the problem.
When I saw that, I was like, Tory,
Tory.
I can take a bribe.
Oh my gosh, he definitely had some bribing going on. I think that's like pretty evident, right?
That was
Are we just throwing that out there?
He offered her $1 million, which is hilarious considering that it's Megan Thee Stallion. It's like she doesn't need $1 million.
I'm good on that. Thank you.
Well, we obviously know what happens. We'll see as this. I'm sure his sentence will get knocked down more and more. But hopefully at least she won the case.
In a way,
and he's in jail.
I want to know what she thinks. I'm curious. Like, obviously, we're filming this. It just happened minutes before we started recording this. So I'm curious what Megan's statement's going to be. I think there's going to be a little bit more follow-up, but we'll give you those updates as they come.
I just know she's a savage.
She is savage.
But in the world of Bachelorette Nation, which we don't talk about a lot, one of the mainstays within that whole franchise, Kaitlyn Bristowe and Jason Tartick, broke up.
Ended their engagement. This was it. She really is a staple. I just feel like she's a very well-liked fan favorite in Bachelor Nation. But yeah, they'd been together for 4 years, started dating, or they met back in 2018, started dating around 2019 after he went on her podcast, Off the Vine. But they're both from the Bachelor shows.
Yeah.
So she started on Chris Soule's season and then ended up becoming the Bachelorette and got engaged to Sean Booth, and then also had her little fling with Nick Viall as well. And then Jason was on Becca's season a few years after her too. But neither of them ended up with those people. Her and Sean broke up about 3 years after being together. And then actually shortly after her breakup from Sean, Jason went on the podcast with her, and then they started dating pretty quickly after that.
I didn't see this coming, but also at the same time, like, when was the last, we talked about this before we got on the podcast, when was the last truly, like, solid Bachelorette Nation couple?
There's, like, 2 to 3, but old school kind
that
of
are, like,
bachelors.
yeah, in the first 10 seasons.
Yeah. Bachelor in Paradise people, or, was that Bachelor in Paradise? Matt James and Rachel stood together, but that's still early days in ways, and they went through some controversy, too.
Yeah, I just think that all of these couples, at some point, I've never seen any one of them like get married. Like, oh, like it worked, it stuck. Also, back to back, or not back to back, 2 engagements called off.
But a bachelor engagement does not count as a regular engagement.
Okay.
If you were like, hey, like I was once engaged, like some people like think that's a deal breaker.
Red flag.
Okay, see, there you go.
Red flag.
Some people think that's a deal breaker, but if you were like, yeah, I was once engaged on The Bachelor, I'd be like, oh, okay, so you've never been engaged.
Whoa. Okay, well,
do you get what I'm saying?
But no, I get what you're saying.
Because you have to get engaged at the end of it. That's the only reason why. Maybe you had a real relationship, if you really want to get technical here.
Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. If you're the one that you were the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, okay, you have to get engaged. Yeah. If you're like the final and you're the winner or whatever, right? But they're not necessarily on the same seasons. They weren't.
No, they weren't. That's why they didn't have to get engaged. This is a completely separate situation.
Was Sean Booth on her season?
Yes.
Okay, so that was their engagement.
Yes.
But they were engaged for like 2 years?
They were, I guess it was about 2 years because they were together for what, 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably longer if they got engaged.
Yeah.
Show.
They were together
I'm just saying that at what point...
I liked them together too.
At what point do we look at ourselves in the mirror?
Who, Kaitlyn?
Yeah.
In what? She looks at herself and she says, I look good? Or what are we looking at?
2 engagements called off. What's going on
One
there?
didn't count, as I just said. So you have 1 called off engagement. We can move past this, Kaitlyn.
I would love to see you, like, if you were ever engaged, then called it off, you doing mind manipulation and being like, no. Oh. It was 1 engagement. It lasted 3 years. And what of it?
It never existed. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm ready for it all.
What is that? Just gaslighting the guy that you're with and being like... Oh, God,
now I'm a guy. Whoa,
no.
Let's get our roles straight here.
I'm the gaslighter.
You're the gaslighter.
No, don't think that happened.
Oh, gosh.
You liked her, though?
I like her, yeah. She's super honest, super cool, blunt.
I feel like she's a little bit more... I think that there's others that I like more within Bachelor Nation than I like her.
Here we go. I wonder why.
I know. I think she's pretty.
Okay.
I think she's always pretty. I think that she just gives me a little bit too part of the machine of Bachelor.
She is a main, like you said, she's a staple. She's the main face of it. I mean, she hosted it for Rachel's season 2 with Gabby.
Yeah.
She's just and she's also involved in the Golden Bachelor, which we haven't even talked about.
Gross.
Golden Bachelor, they're calling it the senior citizen spinoff.
They're floundering for content.
I'm obsessed with that.
You're going to watch that?
And you know I'm going to watch that. And I hope
he's like
someone
67,
has a walker.
right?
Oh, I thought he was older.
Yeah, he's like 70 or something.
Why are we finding love at 70 plus?
Who's watching?
I would just, at that point, I would want to go on like Jersey Shore at 70. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's just party at 70.
Yeah. At that age, I'm not looking for a one. It's the whole
I'm looking
community.
For the one.
Yeah. We're all together.
But anyways, yeah, no, though they did announce their, everyone was wondering if they were broken up because I think it was back in July. She didn't have her engagement ring on.
Yeah.
And then she did this little like post and delete where she was like, you guys need to give me time to process, have a mother effing heart. And then that just blew up. And I was like, they've got to be broken up. They've got to be broken up. Which is why in their statement on Sunday night, they said we had to give it some time to tell our family, but now we want to announce that we're ending our engagement. And they're going to be co-parenting though. You can't forget about the pups. Co-parenting the doggos.
When I saw that in the notes, that is starting to piss me off.
I'm over it. But I'm not a dog person. Come at me.
I like dogs.
You're more than me. So
I like dogs, but I don't want to hear
for Ramen and Pinot.
And Pinot. I just don't want them to act like.
And their dogs are cute.
Comparing dogs to children bothers me.
That does too.
It's like
a custody battle over the pups.
That's so frustrating.
I want to take a poll though, and I want to know.
Just take a poll.
I need to know, like if people feel this way though, because
no, they do.
I think a majority. I think we are actually people who are not in the wrong. We're in the wrong for this.
We're in the minority.
Yeah, we're in the minority for this. That a majority of people would feel like the custody of the dogs is a big deal.
I think it's a dog thing though. Like, would you co-parent a gerbil? No.
Would you co-parent a fish?
No.
A rattlesnake?
Pet rattlesnake? Okay.
What's that thing in 13 going on 30? Oh no, they have like a full fish tank. Okay.
Question 2. When we see these splits, and this doesn't, your opinion, just looking for it. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
Coming out of this split specifically, but maybe looking at history of the Bachelor Nation. Who usually does, like in this instance, I know who I think will be fine and like will stick around.
I think both of them will. They're both very successful people.
Really, they're well liked. Because I think that Kaitlyn was, like you said, so integral to the Bachelor franchise.
Yeah.
And he, because he was connected to her, like stayed very close in that Bachelor thing, even though he still does his podcast.
Yeah.
But he's not like hosting, and he's not like Adam Wells or Wells Adams, who does the bartending,
the
and
bartending,
like he's like very still like in it.
Yeah.
I feel like Jason, because he was with Kaitlyn at the time, was like kind of still in it a lot more than.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I still think he has his own career enough where it's like not everybody needs to have such a spotlight that maybe Kaitlyn does.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's doing well, you know?
I completely agree. I'm saying, yes, I agree. I just think that
She does more things that maybe you see her face a little bit more.
I just think that, yes, because she was such a big part and has such a big following on social media, he will do well, but almost like he will fade a little bit. He won't be as prevalent.
Yeah. His podcast is really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had Tyler Cameron on it. He's had Katie Maloney. Obviously, even bigger names too, I think, too.
Yeah.
But he shares a lot. It's trade secrets is what it's called, right?
It's all about financing.
Yeah, and all about financing. And I've listened to some of his podcasts. We'll watch them too on YouTube. And I think it's really good. Yeah.
So they'll both be fine.
I think they'll totally both be fine. Yeah.
Okay. Before we talk about the last one that happened today, we have to reverse from the past week. Gabby from The Bachelorette, which was maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Oh my gosh, it was like last season.
Where she was
but
the
I also
Bachelorette.
skipped like the last 1 or 2.
Because it was Rachel and her were both,
that's
which
the first
sucked.
time. Yeah, that's the first time.
But she was originally on Clayton's season, where she was in the last 3 with Susie, Rachel, and her.
She was actually in the final 2 with her and Rachel, and then he broke up with both of them in the same room. And he goes, actually, I'm going to go back to the third person
Susie,
who had already left and decided to dump me and dump both you guys right now.
I love it. Missouri
oh my God. Boy. Kaitlyn was
Missouri.
The worst. Anyways, yeah, and then they went on to be the Bachelorettes,
which was kind of a disaster.
So awkward because they're dating the same person. I would just want to quit day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You kiss the same guy as me?
Well, no, I mean, that's not even the thing. It's when you like somebody and then the person says, I'm actually more
Gabby
into your
instead.
friend.
Oh.
We were really feeling each other out. Like everything was going great. And then the person on the other end is like, oh, actually, I really like your friend more.
No. Yeah. And the way they did the whole roses that season, it was like if you didn't get a rose and you denied it from Gabby, then you could still kind of hang tight and see if Rachel chose you.
Yeah.
It was just so
weird.
Uncomfortable.
It's weird. Okay, all that being said, this past week, almost 5 days ago, before the weekend started, she was announced that she's dating.
Yeah.
What's the girl's name?
Oh, Robbie Hoffman?
I think that's actually right. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Who's a girl?
Yeah.
Robbie Hoffman, that's a little ambiguous. It's a girl.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I had my phone with me. Yeah, I want to confirm her name, but yeah.
So
she went on The View and she ended up coming out. Yeah, went on The View, which honestly, that announcement was like great. I think that she, obviously going on a platform where she felt comfortable, but the people on The View were like interrupting her every 2 seconds. I was like, can you guys let her actually speak? Anyways, proceed what you're going to say. As I'm cutting you off.
No, I'm so interested. I didn't know that she went on The View to talk about that.
That was her original announcement, was on The View.
Whoopi.
And then, with Whoopi and everybody else, the whole crew there.
Gail.
And then she posted her Instagram and she's like, I've always said I was a girl's girl, and ended up posting it. And then her girlfriend posted as well. So they've been dating for 3 months.
They've been dating?
Oh, yeah, they've been dating for like 3 months, yeah.
Here's the other thing. And I said this as soon as we saw this news come out. I don't care who you date, what your sexuality is, anything like this. And don't give me that look, because you agreed with me.
What?
I just think that Gabby's cool and hot. You got to date somebody that's also hot. And I just don't think that Robbie is that hot.
Welcome to the podcast, y'all, where Dennis bases things on being funny or relevant based on hotness.
Those 3 things are cool. If you're funny, hot.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So hilarious.
Okay. Do you not...
Tapping out.
You're just not going to comment on this?
Tapping out.
You literally said the same thing I was thinking when we saw that photo of Robbie.
Do I think she's the hottest person? Do I think Ethan Slater's the hottest person? No, Ethan Slater.
Which we shit on 2 weeks ago. We have to do the same thing in this.
Not as cruel-hearted as you. Okay.
We have to do the same thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, don't compare those two.
Ethan Slater and her?
Yeah.
That angle wasn't crushing.
What angle?
Like the main angle that all the pictures that we saw, like it was on E, it was on People, of Gabby.
I saw a whole bunch of photos, so I don't know what angle you're talking about.
Okay. But the one that I kept seeing was kind of like an upward chin shot. It just wasn't
great. Little selfies, yeah. They were posting a lot of kissy posts too, backstage too. Because essentially she posted a little video as she ran off The View and ran over to her girlfriend too. Exciting. And
so you're going to leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande, Ethan Slater.
Pete Davidson, up higher.
Is hotter than
Ethan Slater, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mac Miller, hotter than Ethan Slater.
Okay, Gabby and Robbie.
Big Sean, hotter than Ethan Slater. Who else did she date? Who else did she home wreck? What other home did she wreck?
Big Sean.
Big Sean, yeah, I just said hotter than Ethan Slater.
Okay,
Gabby, hotter than her girlfriend. Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, I just want her to be I want her to be happy.
Yeah.
But I also want her to be with a hot person.
Yeah, for your own.
I think it's good
for your own well-being. For your own well-being.
I think it's good for society. I think if hot people just start going off the board and we're in trouble.
You need to up your appearance then.
Me?
Live by your own standard. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a babe. If anything, I'm Ariana Grande.
You're a homewrecker now.
If anything. Speaking of...
Homewreckers?
No, not cradle robbers.
I'm going to start peeing my pants. Oh, God, I actually going to have to go a little.
Nick Viall also yesterday.
Yes. Oh, God. Cradle rockers?
Robbers. Announced that him and
Today.
his, I guess, fiance, they officially get married.
Fiance.
Natalie
Joy.
That's her actual last name. I just always forget if that Instagram handle's like a Joy or if that's really her last name. Are expecting a child.
Yeah. Nick is 42. We're going to have to bring up the age because Dennis is already ready. I think she's 24 or 25.
I think she
maybe just turned 20. I don't know. She's right in that, like, my age range.
Yeah.
I'm going to say my age range because everything relates back to me.
Our age range.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck?
I thought you were 40.
Yeah. I'm Nick's age. Nick and I hang out at the pickleball courts and we eat dinner at 6 o'clock.
Why pickleball? Are you like Jamie Foxx now?
Either way. The big thing we had always talked about there was that age gap, but I'm happy, we're happy for them.
Yeah, they
That's
said
cool.
like their dreams are coming true. I feel like he really wanted to have a kid, and I feel like she did too. So maybe this was like the right.
Some people really want to have kids soon or like early.
Didn't.
Well, for her.
But honestly, Nick has been like, it relates to Kaitlyn too because they were intimate, as we all know. Before she had her own Bachelorette season, they had started talking and getting together. And then when she had already been with Sean Booth, right before Fantasy Suites, remember when Nick crashed her season, Kaitlyn Bristowe's? This is like the most iconic Bachelor episode or whatever, or at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyways, now, well, I was going to say they both found happiness, but Kaitlyn is going through a breakup.
God damn it.
And Nick's expecting a baby with a 25-year-old.
Gosh.
Yeah, but they just got engaged though. And I guess it was January, so it's been a while.
No pullout game.
Oh, God. What?
That means they were trying.
I think so too. At first, honestly, my first reaction when I saw their pregnancy, I thought they got engaged because she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
But then I saw how far along she was in the photos that they posted, which is like
She far along?
No, not super far along.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, oh, okay. It's been since
engaged
January. I don't know why it felt like they just got engaged, but then when you think of it's January and now it's 8 months later and she looks fairly newly pregnant.
She looks fairly new.
Newly pregnant.
Yeah, I just always feel that's a weird thing with the whole like wedding and you can't really silly.
Yeah, I know. But I just have to tie it back to Kaitlyn really quick because
Sure. She
talked about on her podcast today, on Tuesday, she had a new podcast come out and she talked about her fear of having kids. So I wonder if a little bit, this is just me speculating obviously, but if some of their reasonings for breaking up could possibly have to do with kids. Yeah. Because she was talking about like I'd always like wanted to be a mom and I look forward to having a family, but as like years and years go by, it starts to like freak me out and scare me a little bit more, which I think is valid. I feel like the older you get, the smarter you get, right? So you start thinking about like all the possibilities of like the actual real responsibilities of having kids. So I can see that being a little bit scarier.
Because Natalie hasn't thought it through yet.
Essentially, I was thinking that though. I was talking though to a coworker and I was like, have kids young so you don't freak out.
So you don't even think about it. Just don't think, just go for it.
What did we talk about in one of our first podcasts?
Don't have a kid to save your relationship.
Yep.
That's stuck. It's stuck in my head.
Yeah, you'll never forget it. You're welcome for that advice.
In 9 months, we'll have a little vial.
I thought you were about to announce.
I'm pregnant.
I thought you were about to announce you're having a kid.
My life would be over. So happy for them.
Yeah, I am. I really like Nick. You're not the biggest fan. I think you're
I'm
a little bit weirded out by the age gap.
I'm 60%.
Okay.
I'm 60%. I think he gives a lot of relationship advice for somebody that.
So are you going to watch Special Forces?
No.
Yeah, he was on the show with Tom Sandoval.
Yeah, also no.
Which is just so funny to me. And just side note again, on his podcast, he talks about how Nick on Vile Files.
Yeah.
He talks about how he went to they had to go away, go film it.
Yeah.
And Tom snuck in. You're not allowed to bring any personal items. So Nick, who's actually engaged to Natalie, as we just talked about, didn't bring any photos of Natalie, which I don't know. I guess you like to have that stuff. I imagine just on your phone though. Could you have your phone?
Did you bring your phone?
Maybe you couldn't bring your phone. So Tom snuck in photos of Raquel. This screams they're still together, does it not?
I don't know. Like, also, like,
come on.
Tom at this point is just like clinging on to what he's got left.
Any bit of fame?
Yeah.
I mean, the show's still going. They're filming. So
did it get picked up? Are we talking about it right now? The whole like.
Oh, you think he's doing
bringing
it
in
to
photos?
Be talked about.
Same way in the show, he does that weird thing where he's like, "I want to be punished." Like that's in the trailer.
Huh?
In the trailer for that Special Forces show, the one thing that you like see of Tom Sandoval is his nose is bleeding, and he says that he like wants to be punished. You don't think that he had that plotted in his mind, like, oh, getting back on America's side?
I think he's the cringiest person ever.
Yeah. St. Louis proud.
I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that.
Regardless, Nick Vile's having a kid.
Yeah.
Happy for him. Kaitlyn Bristowe, Jason Tartick. Hopefully we figure it out.
Yeah.
Everything works out.
And she said herself at LAX that the door's not completely closed, maybe.
Oh,
so,
I love it. I love
we'll
it.
see. Maybe there'll be some reconciliation.
Don't close that goddamn
Don't
door.
close the door. She said that's why there's handles. Never heard that one before.
Love handles.
That's why there's handles on the door. Love handles. Look at you.
Okay. Another amazing story. Jeremy Allen White.
Mm-hmm. From the Bear.
From
Shameless.
the Bear, from Shameless. Kind of having
gym.
a revitalization resurgence of career right now with the Bear, because the Bear did so well.
Oh yeah, it's a really good show.
Shameless was on fire too, but I feel like he was so young.
He was, but filmed. Like favorite character, Shameless, Lip Gallagher.
You didn't like the Fiona?
No.
Ugh. A dynamite character.
Oh, she's
dynamite character.
Well, now I'm about to be Dennis for a little bit because I'm about to drool a little bit all over some Jeremy Allen White.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. So he's going through his divorce right now with Addison Tomlin. Don't speak. Who Dennis also thinks is attractive. But anyways, he's just been photographed all around town looking super ripped, which I don't know if his body has always looked like this, and I don't know if he's calling paparazzi to be like, hey, I'm getting lunch with my friends. He was getting lunch with friends. He's literally just going on a hike, and we're just getting so many shots of him looking super ripped. It's kind of like divorce looks good on him right now.
Well, he's also trading for that film that he did with Zac Efron for A24.
And Zach, oh my gosh. Zach's body looks fake though. Have you seen Zach? He's got to be on some sort of what's that called?
Steroids?
Yeah.
But either way, they were both trading for that where they're like a family of 4 brothers where they're wrestlers. Oh. So that's like why
When's that coming out? Do you know?
Maybe in the next 6 months or something like that.
Okay.
But you're not going to be as turned on because they have horrendous hair. Ooh. They're like ripped out of their minds, but they all have bowl cuts.
What?
Okay. To each their own. But the big thing that we see right now is, so they got divorced in May.
Yeah.
And they had been married for 3 years, and they have 2 kids together.
Yeah. Young kids, too.
Yeah.
The first one was born in 2018, so yeah, they're young.
2 kids together. And they got divorced in May.
And they've known each other, him and Addison, Jeremy Allen White and Addison, his ex, or estranged wife, because they're not finalized yet. But they've known each other since they were like teenagers. They were on a set together back in 2008, and they didn't get married until after they had their first baby, but like they've been in each other's lives for
long time.
Over a decade.
But she filed for divorce.
Yes.
Which I think is notable. I think it's notable. But then recently, this past week, they were both at their daughter's soccer game. Mm-hmm. They hugged, just shared some, just
a forehead kiss.
Yeah. Some affection.
And there was a cute little photo of like him holding his daughter's hand, the daughter in the middle, and then her holding, it was like a little family chain.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Cute.
But then also this past week, he was seen Smoochin, full on Smoochin.
Like make out.
With model Ashley Moore.
Yeah. Which I guess has a dating history with some.
Shia LaBeouf, Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber in his like blonde hair phase. It was a good phase.
Good one.
Like before Haley, but like in between.
Who wasn't in between all of the Haley and Selena?
Okay. And then she was with Shia LaBeouf before. I think he had all those crazy things.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So I didn't really know who she was before this, but here we are. She's, around town.
And we don't really know what their relationship is. She's pretty, I would still say she's pretty up and coming in terms of like model and actress. She's on pretty
Is she
small.
30?
Is she 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 30. She's 30 and he's what? 32?
Are you up and coming at 30?
I mean, you can be at any age and be up and coming.
Okay.
It depends on what kind of like he's booking The Bear and Shameless. I'm just trying to give her background a little bit. Do you know what she's been in?
Ashley Moore.
Yeah.
Primarily a model, but then she did Secret Lives of American
Teenager.
She was on that, I think.
So when we were in grade school.
I'm telling you, that's where I was like doing the timeline, and I was so confused because if you look at her modeling, she looks so young. Like she literally is one of those people that doesn't age.
Very young.
And so that's when I just saw this number, and I was like, "Wait, really?
30,
what?"
That kind of shook me, even though I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the thing with Shia LaBeouf was like 5 years ago, and I was like, "Wait, Shia LaBeouf 5 years ago? Like that's."
Yeah, she was like 25. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, and then Secret Lives of American Teenager, I'm like, "Oh my god, that was like 10 years ago, right?"
That was a long time ago.
That was when we were like...
With Francia. Wasn't Francia on that too? Francia
Yeah,
Reza?
she was, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we don't really know what their relationship is, if that was just like a little midday smooch. I feel like kissing during the day is a little bit more...
Shit.
Kissing during the day is a little bit more serious, no?
Yeah, because you probably weren't drinking.
You're sober.
You're sober, Smoochin.
Sober smooching equals serious.
Okay. Back to what you didn't want me to say. What we've been saying is we talked about the whole Ethan Slater, Ariana Grande wrecking the home, and then Ethan Slater being with his wife formerly for like 10 years, high school sweethearts. And what that looked to me like was, Ethan has this new kind of found fame, being in Wicked, obviously did really well in the SpongeBob thing. It's kind of like that trope of the person has a big break and then they leave this person that had been there with them since the beginning. And we were so mad because they had just had a kid.
Yes.
And it was frustrating, right? And so that's what it kind of looked like from the outside.
Yeah.
But then in this, with Jeremy Allen White, a similar thing where they'd been married. Like I said, Jeremy Allen White kind of having a resurgence again.
Okay.
But then that's where I was like, it's notable that she divorced him and that it's not playing out in that same kind of like narrative of,
that can still play out in the same narrative though. Like I felt neglected because he was feeling this certain way though. So I'm going to file for divorce.
It's just frustrating though, because did you look at her like Instagram story and thing that she posted? She was just talking about being a single mother. And
he was pissed about that.
Well, it was just frustrating.
She's not a single mom. They co-parent.
Yeah, they co-parent. Exactly. She made it seem like he is
died.
nowhere and he's like not there. And she also made it seem like he she got dumped or like was served a divorce and was like, I didn't see this coming. But she filed for divorce and you're like, well, you asked for the divorce. Yeah. And I don't know the behind the scenes, right? I don't.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if there was cheating. We don't know if he is an absent father, which we don't know also if he called the paparazzi on that day there at that soccer practice. So he could be like, I'm clearly here with my kids. You know what I mean? And everybody thought they were going to get back together with these photos too. And like, okay, maybe they're divorcing, but they were going to retract that maybe a little bit. Like
handles.
Yeah, some Croy Bierman Croy and Kim Zolciak.
Right.
Yeah, because they were getting divorced and they got back together. People kind of were thinking they were going to get back together, but maybe that will help him with custody. I'm not really sure. But also I was thinking about it. If you've been with somebody for that many years,
3,
him and his wife, him and Addison, they've known each other since they were teenagers.
Yeah.
There's always going to be like something there. You're going to give her a little kiss on the forehead. No? Unless it ended completely terribly, which I guess is what you're hinting at. Maybe it did because she filed for divorce and maybe he cheated on her. I don't know. We really don't have a lot of details on this one.
I'm just so interested, like you said. The way that she made it seem in those posts was like she was a pissed off person that was like, I didn't see this coming. This is BS. I'm upset that I'm quote unquote right now a single mother.
Yeah.
But then to have that reconciliation and have so much love, it's like, if it were me and I'm sure Malin went, I'd be pissed and kind of be like, hey, like, I don't feel sorry for you. You divorced me.
But that's the only thing that I disagree with, like with the whole filing. Sometimes people just file it because they're like, they know it's coming or they know it's going to happen. So I'm just going to file it first. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's the one who wanted it before he did. Or, you know what I'm saying?
If it were me and I was holding out hope and I didn't want things to end,
you'd file it.
I would not.
Oh.
You're like holding out hope and you're like, I'm going to bring the papers.
If I know that he doesn't want to be with me anymore and maybe he's cheating on me, then screw you. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going to file for divorce and we can be done. I'll give you what you want and I'll go live my own happy life as a single mother and I'll raise our kids on our own.
Well, then you're not going to make that post where she's complaining and
maybe she
crying.
filed and then she was a little upset about her decision.
And then you let him, if he's cheating on you, you let him kiss you on the forehead and hug you. And
it goes back to your point, holding out a little bit of hope.
But I wouldn't have filed.
You can always retract. Retract. Who knows? But I think the PDA was simply because there is still some love there. Whether he did the worst thing, whether he did cheat on her, whether he didn't, and they just were starting. I don't think they fell out of love. I think they probably just like ran into some marital issues and they've been together. They got together so young. And
I was going to say too, I think she's very attractive.
And make a further point.
I just think that she'll be fine.
Oh, okay. And I think he will be too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
wish I knew their personality.
He is not phased on getting out there in the field right away.
Because of the kissing, yeah.
There's a little bit of, do you not feel that that's a little bit, we don't know what happened, who filed what was happening before, but is that not a little bit of a slap in the face a month and a half later?
Oh, yeah, because it was just May. Yeah, come on, wait till it's finalized.
So now you're against hot guy?
I'm not against or for anyone in this divorce. I stand for what's right.
Politician Sanchez?
Do I think he's hot?
Senator Sanchez. Nobody's right or wrong. Is he hot? Yes.
Do I think he's hot? You know what? Finally, I get to be you for 1 second, and I get to say that someone's hot, and that's why I support them.
Is Addison hot, though, too? From a girl's perspective, good looking?
Yeah, she's a good looking woman. Yeah, sure.
I just thought that...
I'm not going to give her the win just because of that, though. And I'm not going to give him the win because of that either. I think...
Well, then you're not being me.
He's been looking... I was about to show off my guns, which I did not need to do. I think he's been looking good with his guns. But yeah, we don't really know enough for me to pick sides here. But yes, I agree with you in the fact that smooching someone
a month later,
so quickly after filing in public,
broad daylight,
it makes me almost feel like there's a project coming for these two.
Who is she?
Oh, up and coming. Morgan Wade.
Which I retract my statement. Exactly. Pretty hot, I said over the weekend.
Oh boy.
Don't you remember?
I know. You called me. I think you called me to tell me.
Probably.
Hey, so Morgan Wade's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can see it.
I get it, Kyle.
I'm surprised we didn't segue to this before, but you were saying Vanderpump doesn't think Raquel's going to come back?
Yeah. The Vanderpump train just keeps on going on. So Raquel got out of her mental health facility.
Snuck out.
I think she was there for like months. She was there for about 100 days. And she's done with it. She's done with her treatment. Not snuck out. She didn't break the cages out of her door. Because obviously after that reunion where she just got
paraded.
Shit on. But yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good time for Raquel. Sorry, Rachel now. She goes by Rachel, her government name. Name. A lot of people in Vanderpump Rules, I know in our previous episode, we talked about how she's bound by contract, where she still technically is. So I don't know if she has lawyers involved or they're fighting that because it could be a mental health issue or a health issue that can maybe keep her coming. That being said, though, too, she could literally come back for one episode and still
fulfill her contract.
So they started filming back in June.
Yeah.
Supposed to wrap September, end of September. So she still has about like another potential month and a half or two.
Why are people saying that Vanderpump doesn't think she'll come back?
Yeah, a lot of the cast members are just saying they don't think she's going to come back because they haven't heard from her. No one has heard a peep from her, except for, I'm sure, Tom Sandoval with his little photos at Special Forces. But other than Tom Sandoval's some sort of communication, whatever they're having.
But Tom's been on the show.
Yeah, he's fully back to filming, which even that's kind of funny because when the Paps got him out to ask him about the photos that he brought in of Raquel, they were asking a little bit about. Did I say Raquel?
Yeah, it's so hard to change.
It's very hard. They asked about like living still with Ariana because for some reason they're still in that same house together. Weird.
What?
She has enough money to get out. So does he probably. What are they doing? Are they actually still together?
They're not still together, but I'm telling you, this is all BS. You're telling me that serious of a knockdown, drag out?
I mean, it's been end of March, beginning of March.
6 months you can't find an apartment?
You can't move in and
with Katie?
With a friend? Yeah, it that part baffles me. They both have the money to do it. I mean, especially, they both have the money to do it. So, I don't know. One person needs to buy the other out. I get maybe like it's a little bit complicated with that, but like still temporarily live somewhere else.
Also, all of that's in the assets.
Yeah. And they don't spend a lot of time, either of them, at the house, or they kind of like switch off. But I still think there has to be some sort of form of communication to know like, hey, I'm going to be there this week. Hey, I'm not. Okay, good. I don't want to see you. But Tom and her refusing to like film scenes together for the show. So that's causing a little bit of a rift.
They can't film scenes together, but they can live together?
Exactly. Which is why I'm like, they're not really seeing each other in the house, which I think is why they're getting away with it for this long. But
this person
there's
who
no way they haven't ran
betrayed
into each
you
other.
and cheated on you has
Right down the
locks
hall.
to your...
No, couldn't be me. I would have been out. Unless I was, there's also that one divorce, Kevin Costner and Christine, who she was just like holding out because she wanted to win the house. So maybe there's a little bit of that, like who wants the house more? So who's trying to stick it out the longest? But
they never would have had it together, right? Because they weren't married.
No, they weren't married, but their names are both under it. So
Yeah,
even
but
if
so
you're,
wouldn't it be that you, like when you sell it, you'd get half the house anyway?
yeah, you could have the house.
Or half the profits or whatever?
Unless like one or the other wants to buy the other person out. Yeah. That could be another option.
But you could do that from somewhere else.
Yeah, you don't need to be living in the house to do that. Yeah, so they're still dealing with whatever, and I think that must be a major storyline for season 11 is how they're managing their relationship. I'm sure Ariana's so happy though she doesn't have to see Rachel's face. So that's probably good for Ariana.
I wouldn't care as much about Rachel as I would see Tom every day in his weird, he probably was weird underwear just walking through the house.
Weird underwear?
Yeah.
Or no underwear? Either way, I don't want to see either of their faces. So I'm just saying like 50% of the people that I don't want to see, like I'd rather just have one compared to this two canoodling and kissing in front of my face.
In the hot tub.
In the hot tub where they said they were a throuple. Oh man, some of those scenes that you look back on are painful. But yeah, so we'll see. But today she was seen. She needed a little bit of relaxing. First time we've seen her out.
Rachel.
Getting a massage. Rachel at Massage Envy in Tucson.
She loves Arizona right now.
Her family's there.
Okay.
So I think she's there, probably staying with family. And even more signs that she clearly hasn't filmed a scene. Because it's not like they're at Massage Envy filming her. No cameras.
Wait.
That was them filming her. Yeah. So there's no camera. So she was just there getting a massage. Let me just tie my hands one more time. But it looks like she's not filming yet. So
okay. Well, we'll see if she ends up fulfilling the contract.
I still think she's going to. What do you think?
Well, I said this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it'd be badass if she comes in and owns being a villain. She
seems scared right now.
I know.
There's also this huge lawsuit.
I need my girl to buck up. There's
this huge lawsuit going on right now with NBC and Bravo, which I just want to mention really quick because Bethany Frankel made up a good point where now with the WGA and SAG strike going on, they don't have these like big time actors to, fill up all this content. So now they're focusing so much on reality stars.
TV. I heard that.
Yeah. So they're trying to build up their contract to get better rights now for reality stars too, almost wanting to unionize them as well. But Bethany made up a good point and she was like, these big time actors are getting all this money. Yeah, they're like playing these certain characters, but she brings up Rachel in her points and she's like, but like at what price are these reality stars living their life? They're not getting paid enough. Rachel essentially had this huge life altering thing. Yeah, she had her own decision, but like all of it is publicized. Like your biggest divorces, your biggest lows, your biggest highs. Yeah, there's some celebration, everything, but she's defending all the reality stars and like trying to get for better rights for them too, as all of this like SAG and WGA strikes are going on right now too. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
It's so interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I want to watch this new season.
Yeah, I'm going to too.
You can tell me if it's terrible, and
I'll
if it's, I'll watch it.
I'll let you know.
And last but not least, Taylor Swift and Beyonce are just tearing up the tour circuit right now. Recently, Beyonce actually paid like over $100,000 for the DC like metro to stay open because of a torrential downpour that was happening there during one of her shows on the Renaissance tour, and it delayed the show for 2 hours. So then she was like, I'll pay the fees and fines for the metro to stay open late so people can get home, which is really cool.
Really nice.
The only thing that bothers me a little bit, Hater City, is I think that both of these women are icons. Like, I don't know, like I expect it. And that's where it's just
the most spoken about two artists right now.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's funny that it's headline news to me. It is, but it's just because like I've already put them in that category.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's more interesting to me that maybe other people don't, or are like, oh, well, I don't know who you'd compare them to. That Drake, or who's also, on tour. It's like Beyonce and Taylor Swift are just in a different category.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know.
But my thing with that, just, I don't know why you saying that made me think though, like, do you think Beyonce came up with that idea though herself? Or do you think her team was like, hey, you know what? There's a 2-hour delay. Metro ends at midnight. People are going to get out here way past midnight. We should probably do something. And yeah, Beyonce gives her stamp approval, which still makes her great because I'm going to Morgan in DC at that same FedEx field. And I'm thinking it better not rain because Morgan is not going to fork out $100K for me to get home.
But I think that there's a conversation that happens between her manager, PR team, etc.
Yeah.
And I really do believe, because it's just what I think with Beyonce, and there's literally no grounds to stand on.
Okay.
I have no evidence to say that she is a great person or anything like that. But I think
like
that she would be like, $100K. I'm doing that. These people paid a ton of money to come see me play, which is almost funny. Just considering,
it's like $100 to her.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because, like we covered in the past, all these other artists that are getting things thrown at them, Miranda Lambert being a little bit, calling people out for the selfie in the front row. It's just interesting how different artists are handling different things on tour, different shows, and their reaction and relationship with their audience. And it is clear that Beyonce and Taylor Swift, while they are icons and have been doing things for so long, they have a die-hard following.
Definitely.
That like they're willing to pay the $100K or do whatever, like she did with Taylor Swift, like Ticketmaster and Capital One or whatever she did. Remember, she tried to democratize it. But I just think that they have a good understanding of their audience fuels their career.
Yeah, and as they should. I mean, who's paying the bills? We are.
Yeah, the fans. Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're doing like these huge tours, I think that, you're a little bit ignorant to think that like the fans don't deserve,
to see a great show and the best treatment.
You're so right. These tickets are going for so much money.
Yeah.
I mean, to see even like stars that aren't really these big names like you're talking about, it's still really expensive just to go see a concert in general. But a lot of tickets for Taylor Swift were going for, I wanted to go to last minute show. It's like, no way I'm going to go to that show for over $1,000. I would look at tickets when I was in New York and it was like $6,000 for a ticket.
Can I just say, too, this was interesting to me, is that even though these women are both setting record numbers on tours and, like you said, like the amount that they've sold in ticket sales, and
so much money.
Taylor Swift's about to pass Madonna for VMA nominations, I'm pretty sure. That just came out like today. I haven't heard a ton. Like, the Eras tour has been everywhere on social media. I haven't seen as much, I feel like, about the Renaissance tour. It's crushing. I know that's crushing it. But then also as the Eras Tour has gone on, because it's gone on for so long, we saw so much stuff, I feel like before, when those first shows were happening and kind of towards the middle, that now she's finally gotten to the West Coast and done like San Francisco and LA. She just did those two, where it's like, I feel like people were kind of jaded on it. Or not jaded, but like, I just didn't see nearly as many posts from like LA people versus when people would like, they were flying to go see her in Kansas City or in other cities that are in the Midwest on the East Coast.
Yeah. Well, she's ending her tour at SoFi. Taylor Swift is.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been seeing a lot personally. I mean, like, I don't know.
From the LA.
I have
not. Like, I've seen like
this is where she was originally
posts.
going to close out her U.S. tour. Granted, she just announced she's going to add more dates for next year.
Yeah.
Smart. Any of the cities she didn't hit, like Miami, she added to the list. Somewhere in Canada, she added to the list because there was like no Canadian stops. But no, I've still been seeing a lot. I think she always tries to do something somewhat special to make it relevant because there's always like a surprise song. She did some random surprise song on Saturday. And then, I don't know, some other things that make headlines though is like celebrities that are showing up. Like Flavor Flav was handing out bracelets and was hanging out with Taylor Swift's parents last night. We're seeing big names though. Like, I don't know why Ashley Tisdale is the first one that's probably mine, but like Ashley Tisdale, Sophia Richie was at the concert last night.
Yeah.
So I think celebrities are kind of making her name like,
don't you just remember
the back in
the beginning?
No, I know. Oh no, the hype was even bigger in the beginning, for sure. But now, this is something I was going to tell you was these tickets are going for so much that at SoFi Stadium, people are. I don't even want to say it because if you ever want to do this, I'm about to ruin it for you. But they're paying the security guards off to get in, and it's working
without a ticket.
No ticket. I'm going to pop you a $60. I'm going to give you
60? No chance.
$100.
If you're a security, you got to be like $1,000.
No, like $100 at the door.
Why do you know this?
You don't have a seat.
Also, that's so dangerous.
Why?
From
It's not like
safety
background checks on these people.
safety standards of like having too many people in a stadium than
Fire
what's
hazard.
allotted. Fire hazard. Are you not familiar with like stadiums like collapsing?
No, I'm not.
Oh, like there was like, I don't know if you like know, like the soccer stadium in
Scary.
1976, like all those people died. Those 76 people died.
How high up though? Like how many extra people are they letting in?
Oh, like, I mean, people rushed the thing and then they crushed people against the,
Oh my gosh.
down that were in the front row.
I feel like it's only like maybe like 5 or 6 people here and there.
Per security guard. Per gate.
That's true.
And then we just publicized it.
I know. We got to cut this. Do not do this. We do not recommend. Oh, God.
I'm not going.
Can we remove? I was going to try it.
You could.
I'd get in.
Oh, I thought it was a little funny. I saw that Noah Beck went to the LA show.
I'm so mad about that now.
And he was in like the 3rd or 4th tier. I was kind of surprised.
He probably paid a security guard to get there. Anyways,
hey, the economy's
buy your
been rough.
tickets. Feed Taylor Swift and Beyonce more money. They deserve it. Make the rich richer and enjoy their music.
Seriously.
Be a true fan. Don't be shady. Let me be shady.
I think that wraps it up for this week.
Yeah, that does. Thanks for listening. For more, we have clips coming up on Instagram, TikTok, at Blank Telephone. Full episodes on YouTube.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.